investigation, and I'm here to, as witness to the fact that I think it's impossible for the Israelis to investigate themselves properly in this situation. It didn't happen, it hasn't happened yet in Rachel's case. That's according to the U.S. government. The position of the U.S. government is that her case has not been thoroughly, credibly, and transparently investigated. I have no confidence that that can happen with all that has happened here in the Gaza Strip. So somehow through other resources, through the international community, but also in the U.S., by finding some way that we make determinations about how our weapons were used here. Craig and I saw the evidence of white phosphorus yesterday.
We saw the white phosphorus?
We saw the white phosphorus yesterday in homes that were destroyed. And so we need to find ways to document, to have an adequate investigation about what's happened, and then have accountability according to our own laws, the Arms Export Control Act, our financing of foreign military aid, and so forth, the Leahy Amendment. There are different avenues for doing that. But I hope that as American citizens, we'll start to say no matter what Israel does, we draw the line. Because there are supposed to be consequences if our weapons are misused. And I think most Americans, if they saw this, they would want those laws enforced. They would not want to see the continuation of our spending on this kind of activity.
I'm a Vietnam vet, and so I lived under threat for over 11 months of the year, and you grow close to the people around you. You survive because of the people around you, and you become incredibly attached to the people around you. And I know I worried so much when Rachel was here, not just about her health while she was here and surviving being here, but then what it would be like to go home, because I knew she was staying with family, she was staying with children, she was staying with people that won't be able to leave when she was able to leave. And I feel a little, more than a little bit of that now. We're able to leave. And as Rachel wrote, you can't really understand this place until you come. And even then, you don't really understand it. She said, I don't understand it because I had the money to buy water and I had the freedom to leave. These people don't.
I think this trip I was able to take in some ways more. The other, we've been here twice before, and for different reasons. Those were both really emotional and kind of traumatic visits at times. Parts of it were. But I was struck kind of surprised, even as we were coming in from the crossing in Rafah, about the land, the farmland, how much farmland I was seeing, and the sheep, and there's a way of life here. People live here, even though they are under just unbelievable pressures and such terrible things happening day to day to day. People killed nearly every day. But people live here, and I was struck by that much more. The women out taking care of the fields, the people herding the sheep and the goats, and there's in the rural areas the families who are. A family life is very important, and people get together and they enjoy each other and they sustain each other. So through the hardship, there's a great deal of life happening here. And I think I heard John Ging say this is a civilized people, and I don't remember the end of his comment, but something about in a prison, I believe in a prison. And for me, this is a civilized people with tremendous forces working against them to really, as Rachel said, to erase them. And I believe that if we can shift that so that there are more forces working to, in solidarity with the people of Palestine, to build the lives that they want, there's all the potential for that to happen.
Cindy and Craig Corey speaking on the Rafah border with Democracy Now! Producer Angelique Conant. Their daughter Rachel Corey was crushed to death by an Israeli military bulldozer that was manufactured by the Illinois-based company Caterpillar. Rachel was killed on March 16, 2003, 6 years ago today. Special thanks to Democracy Now!'s Angelique Comet and Jackie Suin of Big Noise Films. We'll be bringing you more of their coverage in the coming days. Also, last month, Israel paid around $2 million in damages to the family of a British cameraman who was shot by an Israeli soldier a few weeks after Rachel in 2003. The family of James Miller accepted the payment, saying it was as close to admission of guilt from Israel as they were ever likely to get. Miller was in Gaza working on a documentary about Palestinian children caught up in the conflict. The documentary, Death in Gaza, later aired on HBO and won 3 Emmys. And that's it for today's broadcast. You can go to our website at democracynow.org. Democracy Now! Produced by Mike Berkshire, producer Aramata, Angelique Comet, Robbie Karen, Steve Martinez, Nicole Salazar, Hani Massoud, I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks so much for joining us.